Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire arts and entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Welcome, Sioux Empire arts and entertainment lovers. Alex Newcomb Weiland stays busy at the Premiere Playhouse. She's on staff and still finds time to be in productions as well. Then Sioux Falls Arts Council Executive Director Kellen Boice is back on the show. She too is busy. We talk about a variety of subjects, including how the Arts Council and the city look to beautify an eyesore downtown. Plus, we'll tell you who gets this week's honorable mention, as well as draw for another winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show. Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party. Lift 'em up high, and yes, I have a drink in hand as I'm ready to salute and give a Weekend Eve toast to our neighbor, Cameron Nelson. Congratulations on becoming a District 10 state representative. Our best wishes to you as you begin your journey in the state legislature. So congratulations and cheers to you, my dear neighbor, Cameron Nelson. It is time for another drawing of Pizza with a Podcaster. Each week, we draw one name out of the barrel of names of those that have followed the Dave Holly Hour, either on Instagram or on Facebook. And that person then wins a free pizza from Sonny's Pizzeria. Oh, they got good stuff just there the other day again. And we say congratulations this week to Brenda Ludens. Brenda, we will be in touch and get a certificate to you for a free pizza from Sonny's Pizzeria. Honorable mention. What made Dave smile, laugh, giggle, guffaw, slap his knee silly, have a tear of joy, or just say, oh, wow. I believe that's how my love described what I had said when we were at an original musical, Salem. Written, produced, directed, basically everything but act himself in it. Luke Tatchy. Congratulations on your honorable mention for this week. Luke has been on the show several times, but you know what? As I was watching the previews coming up to opening night last week on social media, I kept seeing all the things from the dress rehearsals, and it was like I was watching a Broadway show. And it's like, this looks incredible. And so then we get there, and I just kept thinking, this looks very Broadway-ish. Luke, one of the most creative, multifaceted people you'll ever meet, writes the musical, scores the musical, directs the musical, even directs the music. The music, you know, the musicians. Luke, if this or anything else you ever create ends up on Broadway, please remember us. Congrats again, Luke Tatchy, on this week's honorable mention. Later in the show, Sioux Falls Arts Council Executive Director Kellen Boice. Coming up next, from the Premiere Playhouse, Alex Newcomb Weiland on the Dave Holly Hour.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffitt's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffitt Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Arts and entertainment lovers, you hit the mark. It's the Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. Did you want to say it or should I say it? Okay, I'll say it for you, everybody. It's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire arts and entertainment, and I have been waiting for this interview. And we're at a special place to hold the interview because she's going to eat pizza. Because she was the first winner of Pizza with a Podcaster, Alex Newcomb Weiland. But you've probably heard of her if you've been around the arts and entertainment scene here in the Sioux Falls area. She's been a little bit busy, and that's how come it took this long to get her free coupon for a free pizza and sit down with her to talk about everything she does. How are you?
I am great, Dave. How are you?
If I were any better, I'd be twins. I could get twice as much done.
That would be so nice,
That'd
wouldn't
be
it?
2 podcasts a week.
We would all love it. That's for sure.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you. You have been busy, though, and that's why it took a while.
Yes.
Because you are very busy. First of all, your job at the Premiere Playhouse. You have plenty going on there. We'll find out the details in a moment.
Absolutely.
And then you also do some teaching.
I do.
In fact, you and Oliver.
Yes.
Oliver Mays right now have
Love
been
him.
doing... What a great
He's
dude,
the best.
Huh?
Yeah.
Wow. And it's one of those things that I'm a little upset that I didn't find out about it earlier.
I know.
Because I'm
sorry. We'll have more. We'll have more.
Yeah,
It's okay.
Good.
Yes.
Good. But in the meantime, you just finished playing a wonderful, wonderful part because you were in Young Frankenstein.
It's true.
Oh, wow. First of all, kudos. It was bravo. It was absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And I say that with a couple of things in mind, because first of all, I'm a huge Mel Brooks fan, and I was very partial to the movie, thinking, oh man, what's a musical going to be like, and so forth. So you always go in, but I always try to be careful upfront about it. It's like, soak it all up, give a judgment afterward.
Yes.
And then the other little factoid is the fact that Frau Blucher in the movie, played by Cloris Leachman,
Yes.
double dated with my father in high school. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You were a fun little thing.
I was going to say a little more connected to that show than I initially anticipated.
Yeah. So like I said, the big thing was just the fact, the partiality that I had toward the movie, and to go in and see what everybody did with it at Premiere Playhouse, I was astounded.
Well,
And
thank you.
I thought there was some perfect casting, you included.
Thank you.
Casey Cossack as
Yes.
Icor.
Oh my gosh, Casey.
Nathan Sparks as the monster.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so it was great to watch. How did that feel when you knew that you were taking on something that, originally was an iconic movie?
Oh my gosh. Well, to say the least, it was, it's a little overwhelming because you're like, oh my gosh, there's this standard, right, that I have to meet. There's this standard or expectation from audience members that are familiar with the show and familiar
because
with
you
the
played
movie.
the part that Terry Garr had.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'm a little partial to her.
Yeah, she's awesome. We love her. But it was, it's something that I've done this show before. So this was the third time I have actually been in a production of Young Frankenstein.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And what other roles have you been then?
I've been in the ensemble both times.
Okay.
So the first one
So
was...
this is the first time leading.
Yes. Yeah. Always wanted to
my.
play Inga, though.
Yeah.
She's always been a very fun character. And I felt like I found a lot of opportunity with her to kind of step out of that. Like, again, she kind of is in a little bit of a box with her like characterization, because she's, you know, kind of this blonde, like, I hate to say it, but just like bimbo kind of, that's like her persona that she's taking on. And I wanted to kind of challenge that a little bit and like give her more agency in her performance and give her more just like, she's here because she wants to be and she knows what she's doing.
Right.
And so that was fun. And then also make her like weird in a lot of ways that like people would be like a little shocked to see her be weird, you know, because she's cute or she's pretty and she's, you know, she's nice and whatever it is, helpful, great, right? But I wanted her to be a little kooky too and just a little outside of the box. So it was really fun. And, you know, that's what was a little nerve-wracking about taking a little bit of a different spin on it, is that I wasn't sure how people would like it, but I also was like, I don't really care.
Right.
I'm going to just have fun with this. And like, I'm
your
going to
choice.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy it.
Your choice as an actor, and then Oliver's choice.
Yeah.
As well. And Jesse, that's right.
Yes.
Co-directorship
Yes,
on
Jesse
that.
and
That was
Oliver. Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
So just, and you know, there's a particular seat that we have for our season tickets at Premiere Playhouse, right in front of the audio board.
Oh, yes. Nice.
Yeah.
But you hear all sorts of things sitting back there.
We hear all sorts of things. And then also that night, Jesse was sitting just a few feet beyond them, right up against the back wall. And it's like, man, somebody's really enjoying this show.
Yes.
Oh, it's the director.
Yes. I know. He loved to encourage us every single time. It was so funny because you can hear it. You know, when you recognize someone's laugh, I will say one other person, Rebecca Meerman, her laugh is just like infectious. One of those, yes, you can like hear her in the audience and you hear Jesse in the audience. You're like, oh, yes, I know they're out there today. This is great. I have someone on my side. It's
exactly.
Awesome.
Well, you can count on me to be on your side,
thank you,
too.
Dave. I
because
appreciate
you are tremendous. And for me, it was the first time to see you in a leading role. And so it was incredible,
well,
like I mentioned earlier. And not just saying that because you're sitting across the table from me, but
thank you.
Because we go to quite a few shows around here, and love to see, you know, the production. Love to see, you know, I always like to go back to something Sarah Crosby said when she first moved to town and started
theater mama.
DAPA. Yeah, I was one of the directors for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, a long time ago in a land far, far away.
That's amazing.
But, you know, one of the reasons she started was she said, the kids in Sioux Falls are as talented as the kids in New York and Los Angeles. They just don't have the opportunities. And I love that we are seeing incredible opportunities.
Yeah.
And love to see how much everything steps up too.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes when you think of community theater and arts in general being stepped up, then you kind of go, oh, yeah, okay, so they brought somebody in, huh? No, this is all that local talent that's now getting those opportunities. And you think about that even in getting a job in the fine arts now. You know, you have a job.
I do. Yeah.
At the theater, at the Premiere Playhouse.
It's crazy. It blows my mind. I never
You know, 20 years ago,
yeah,
I would have thought, oh, yeah, well, you know, maybe she'll get to Chicago or someplace like that, or have to go farther beyond. But so it's great that talent is sticking around, because then someone like yourself, and we'll get into this a little bit too, is adding that to someone a few years younger, and making them keep growing it and so forth. All right. So we talked a little bit of Young Frankenstein, but let's go back to the roots then.
Yes.
What got you started in theater?
In theater. Oh my gosh. Well, this is kind of a funny story.
I like funny stories.
Yeah. Well, my family's always been very involved in theater. We grew up, like, our Easter tradition at my house is watching Jesus Christ Superstar with Ted Neely and Carl Anderson, and cooking like Mediterranean chicken and like eating Mediterranean food, and like that's how we, you know, celebrate Easter. We don't usually do a traditional like Easter Sunday.
No ham, huh?
Yeah, no ham on Easter. No, strictly chicken. Yes. So that's kind of like just been a part of my life forever. But I think the influence from like that is from like a lot of my dad's side, and my dad's mom is a professional clown. So
was I.
No way.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what was your clown name?
Debo.
Debo?
D-double-E-B-O, but don't worry about the B-O, because, oops, sorry, forgot something today, didn't I?
That's amazing. I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's so. How long did you clown for?
A decade.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. So did you do like birthday parties? Did you do stuff like that?
Did a lot of birthday parties, did a lot of meet and greet type things.
Oh my gosh.
Also did, some magic shows and some one-man variety shows, things along
That's
that line.
so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Clowning is so cool. That's like my grandma. Yeah. So my grandma and I, like, she and her sister.
So that's where you learned your makeup skills, huh?
Yes, exactly. Yes. Well, we used to do like clown workshops when I was a kid. Like I would spend the weekend or I'd spend a week with my grandma in Madison, South Dakota.
Right.
And my cousins and I, or my sister and I would go there and she would like give us all of her old clown outfits and we would dress up and do makeup and do photo shoots and stuff like that. But she and her sister had like a clown duo that were like Bubbles and Dimples the clown.
Okay.
And they did like workshops, they did birthday parties, they did all that kind of stuff. And so a lot of the theatricality within myself
came from
comes
there.
from her. Yeah, mostly. So she's my biggest inspiration for it. She's so passionate and loving and just like deep-hearted, that and it just runs in her veins. And I just, she's my biggest inspiration.
So at what point did you hop on stage then?
Oh gosh.
And catch the theater bug?
It was a little bit of a journey for me. I was a super shy kid. So I had a lot of anxiety about like, people and being in front of people. And my elementary school did a yearly performance where, we were a smaller school, we went to All City Elementary. And so it was like only like one class per grade. And so we all participated in like the yearly musical. But only like the 4th and 5th graders got to be on stage.
Right.
Right. All the kids got to sing a song or the classes got to sing a song. So I was in it every time with that. But it wasn't until I think 4th or 5th grade that I actually got on the stage. Oh my gosh, I was so nervous. But I played like Mary from Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Okay.
And I dressed up in that. And that was like, I had like 3 lines and I was like studied them all day long. I was so nervous. And that was like the first role I think I had on stage was in 4th grade. So
what was the first time that you bumped up beyond that then? Was it a high school play then or anything? And did it all progress then throughout?
Yeah. So, I mean, I always kind of had a thought and a dream that I wanted to be like an actress or an actor in my life. And, I grew up with like I'm not going to be able to do that. Like, that whole thing, we always are in that. Sometimes we just can't do what we want to do because we won't make enough money or we won't do all these, we won't get what we need from it. And it wasn't until, I think it was my senior year of high school that I played Cinderella in Cinderella. And that was like the moment for me that it just switched. And I was like, I can't do anything else. Like I have to do this. And so I just decided to then from there kind of pursue it. It was on and off, right? Like I did shows in middle school and I was part of DAPA and Place for Living and things like that. And I just loved it. And I was an Orland Terp, and so I did all these things, but I never thought it was going to be my career until my senior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you decided to go down to USD.
I did, yes.
Yeah. And
Go Yotes.
so you got your bachelor's in fine arts.
I do, yep.
Yeah. And they have, a strong program.
They do.
But, what's great about it is, you think about it. Okay, so you got a strong program at USD. You got a strong program now at USF, Augie, and STSU.
Yeah.
And it's pretty tough to go wrong in choosing a school if you want to pursue fine arts.
It's very true. Yes, it's very true. I have a history of my family members taking place at SDSU, at Prairie Rep.
Yeah.
And my uncle and aunt are on the board down there. My cousin Allison was there for a long time. So I always, the signs showed for me to go to SDSU. But Vermilion really worked out for me, I think. And just, I loved the town. I loved the people. I loved like the focus that we had in our department. And I love, SDSU as well, but USD was my place. So,
So do you get into the rivalries then?
I was never part of it, but a lot of other people are pretty diehard on either side.
No doubt.
And, I had a SDSU sticker on my car, even though I went to USD. So it's like I was a little bit torn between. So
got to cover the bases.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
All right. So now let's talk about Premiere Playhouse.
Okay.
And tell us first of all, what is your title there?
Yes.
And then we'll extrapolate beyond that.
Dive into that.
Yeah.
Yes. My title is Production Specialist and Education Coordinator. So that means a lot of different things.
I was just going to say, that sounds like a loaded barrel of
Yes.
all sorts of things.
Yes.
So let's talk about the production specialist part.
Sure.
Yeah.
Production specialist. So I kind of take a lot of production management roles on. So making sure that we have deadlines and timelines for our builds and for our designers to make sure that everything's on schedule. I also am like the main form of communication between our designers and our stage management, our direction team, people like that. Also then kind of run Tech Week. I run the performance schedule. I don't have to be there every single night,
Right.
but I'm in charge of, making sure it's going, and then strike, all those kind of things. So I make sure that the train is on the right track.
And the call list and so forth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and that's something I pair, that's more stage management really in our realm of
Right.
who's called each night and things like that. So.
All right. Well, let's talk about the education part.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So you knew that you were going to want to be involved in theater then, your senior year in high school. And now, you get to help out people in that category.
I do.
It has to be pretty rewarding.
It's really cool.
What do you enjoy most about that?
Oh my gosh. Well, working with kids is just my favorite thing ever. I feel like I'm always going to be a child at heart, no matter what. And so it's so nice to be surrounded by the people that also have that and are currently a child. So it's like, you're just infected with that childlike wonder and excitement and creativity. And I just love living in that world and participating in that. And so it's really cool to hone in on that with kids and have it be brought forth for them, and they have a good experience and they're excited as just like we are. And it's building that next generation, and
Right.
it's really cool to be able to be a part of that and influence that. So
Is that the same coolness you felt at that age?
It was, yeah. I looked up to so many of my teachers and my professors. Bob Wenland was one of my biggest inspirations in Sioux Falls for so long, still is currently, but he was a mentor of mine for years, and I learned so much from him. And so it's so cool now to be in that next phase where we're friends now, and you know what I mean?
Pretty good guy to follow.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. So that's what they helped me keep that excitement. And so I love that I get to be in the same soil
Right.
and that build that and grow that as well.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we saw this past year was with DAPA, the incorporation of people that are acting on a regular basis
Oh, it's
along
such a cool
with
thing.
the kids. Just absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And
great.
it's so fun to see all that taking place. So what else do you see? Well, another great project, Penguin Project that
Oh my
Premiere
gosh.
Playhouse had this past summer. Wow.
It's my favorite thing I've ever done. Or been a part of, it's such a rewarding experience, and I don't ever want to do anything else.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. It's my favorite production, I think, or yearly production that I will ever do. It's amazing. And I think our production team and the kids involved, everyone feels the same way. We just found a community of people that feel the same way.
Yeah,
So
phenomenal to see that. So
thank you.
what about the things that you want to accomplish in the education department at Premiere Playhouse?
Oh my gosh. Well, we're starting to do some of it right now. We have our 2 acting classes that are going on this year. Our scene study class for both youth and adults, and then also our musical theater or acting and musical theater classes for same youth and adults. Just stuff that we just want to have available to our community.
Right.
They're all free of cost.
Well,
So
and I suppose it's also a great way of building up the stable.
yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah. Well, if we do this and somebody that's never been on stage before all of a sudden comes up and wows us, then we've got somebody to look for.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's been the toughest part of putting those classes together?
I guess, part of the same issue I think that you've had is just getting the word out and making sure people know that they're available, and luckily we had a really good turnout for this first class that we've done. But I'm glad to hear that. But that was probably the biggest thing is people don't know that there's acting classes in town. And so now this is a first thing for us. And, the people that have been involved at least to our faces, they said they really like
Right.
them. So, yeah.
So if somebody goes into that, what's the commitment time wise?
So this one is only about a 5-week every Thursday night. So it's only about 2 hours a night for 5 weeks, and then we have a final showcase just to show off the scene or the songs that we're going to be that you work on in class, basically. So
Is the showcase going to be public, or is it?
yeah, it's a public viewing. Yeah, so November 20th is our scene study one.
Yes, let's see. Sunday?
Yes, a Sunday. Yeah,
Sunday, November 20th. All right.
Yeah, we wanted to use all 5 classes to really a special time, giving to our participants. And so then the final showcase is just like a little, like, everyone come watch the work that they did, and that's it.
And will those be pieces that they came up with?
These are ones that actually Oliver and I
something that
have
you
like
had in place for them to work on?
Yeah, we've had scenes and kind of gave it to them based on what they had told us what they were interested in focusing on for their class, and so tried to curate it to each individual person.
All right. So we're going to have a little comedy. We're going to have some drama. What all is involved?
A little bit of all of it, yeah. I mean, we have some monologues. We have some, like, partner scenes. It kind of just depends on what people wanted to do. So
I love
it's really
variety.
Cool. Yeah, right. It's nice.
It is such a great thing that you're doing with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and hope to see even more of it. And I tell you what, the Premiere Playhouse right now is doing so well.
Thank you.
With its programming. Besides incredible productions. You've got the classes going on like that. Another thing that is coming up in February, the premieres.
Yes. So cool.
Just fantastic. I was fortunate enough to be part of a reading of one of them that was chosen. Mo Hurley is just one of those incredible people.
She's amazing.
Yeah. And, I remember last year and 29 Steps, and then at the end of the show going out and so I saw Marisa first, and I was going to go up and say congratulations to her, and she starts walking right up to me. She says, I keep telling people that Mo Hurley's a force to be reckoned with.
Yes, she is, though. Author, writer, performer, all of it. She's incredible. Yeah.
And just a
director
fun...
now, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, she's so good.
And so just so much fun to see so many different types of personalities that make it on stage. And then when they do make it on stage... Here's this great melding of everybody.
Yeah.
And we talk about it on the show a lot. Family, that everybody gets this family from one particular show, and their theater family keeps growing as they are in more shows and so forth. And of course, that means that Bob Nelson has the world's largest family.
He's got the biggest family ever.
But it is such a great part of our community. But besides Premiere, have you been in productions around the area as well that you would like to do again, or
oh my gosh,
be at and so forth?
I mean, all of them, but yes. I've worked with Bear Bodkins a couple of times, so with Jana Fitzsimmons and RJ Fitzsimmons, and that has been always just an incredible summer, activity that I've taken part of, and I'm hoping to get back into that again sometime and audition for them again. I did a Goodnight Theater Collective last year, where I was in Little Shop of Horrors and Into the Woods, so both of those were awesome. I love that group. I love everyone involved in that, so... and then I directed Stop Kiss for Monstrous this last year too. So I'm
that
really
was
hoping.
Powerful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was an incredible experience for myself, as well as I hope for everyone else to see such a beautiful story being told. I mean, a sad, tragic in some ways, but a lot of really beautiful moments in there too.
No doubt. So what about the future for you? I mean, you do incredibly well at what you're doing right now.
No, thank you.
You're from this area. Is there something bigger out there, though, that you want to hit or get to? What are the aspirations?
Yeah, I mean, I think I always have aspirations to continue to just grow as a performer and grow as a person. And I think right now I'm really happy with where I'm at, but I'm excited to continue to find opportunities that come to me, or anything, or seek them out, whatever happens. I'm really kind of down for whatever. Right now I'm really loving where I'm at with my new title at the Playhouse and being able to perform when I can.
Because we don't want you to go anywhere else.
Oh, I don't plan on it anytime soon. I just bought a house, so I'm here for a hot second. Yes.
In the neighborhood.
Yes.
Even. Yeah. So what about, roles that you would love to play?
Oh my gosh.
What's up there on your list that if we ever do this show, I've got to audition for this?
I mean, the first one that comes to my mind for sure is Jenna in Waitress. She's like, when that show came out, I watched that movie when it was like an indie film in the early 2000s, right? And my sister and I grew up watching it, and so it's always had a special place in my heart. And then when it turned into a musical, and Sarah Bareilles was writing music, I was like, this is my dream come true. So she's a role that I would just melt away for if I could. And that's my big one. I mean, I've played Mary Magdalene in Jesus Christ Superstar, but would love to do that any other time in my life. She's my favorite person. I have such a beautiful like connection to her, and so she's another one that I would want to play. So
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Any more directing that you want to be doing?
Yes, always. I don't ever want to stop. I am directing one of our Premiere Playhouse shows coming up, which is really cool.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm allowed to reveal that information yet. So
we'll hold off. We'll let
hold off
Oliver
for
spill the
now.
beans sometime on that then.
Exactly. So that'll be fun. I get
But you
to
can tell
do
me
that.
afterward.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Off air. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I always like to end with a couple of standby questions.
Okay.
Sometimes question number one means we don't need the second question.
Okay.
So let's start off here. When you are not part of the arts and entertainment community, what do you like to be entertained by?
Can it still have to do with the arts and entertainment?
Yes.
Even though it's not me doing it?
Yeah.
'Cause it's-
actually that's what I always intend the question to lead
Yes,
to.
okay.
Yeah.
It's music and it's movies, television, things like that. I'm a big music person though. Growing up in my family, we've always made music together and play instruments and love to sing. And so a lot of my favorite time, like on the sidelines of not, working or other parts of life, is playing music, singing music, learning it, listening to it, discovering new artists, things like that.
All right. Then that means we do get a chance for question number 2.
Okay, cool.
Any other hobbies?
Any other hobbies? Well, I love my plants. My plants are a hobby at this point. It's a new hobby for me, so I'm still learning.
Oh, you're going to love the neighborhood.
But that's great then. Yay. I can hopefully learn from others in the area too, because plants are a big one for me, as well as I love to paint. My grandma, who's also the clown, is a painter.
Okay.
So I learned from her a lot when I was growing up,
wow.
and have been influenced by her in that way. So
Mm-hmm.
I paint, and it makes me think of her, and
Right.
I'm not as great as she is, but it's fun, it's relaxing, it's therapeutic in a lot lot of ways.
That's always the thing is, some artists paint for the public, some paint for their own selves.
Yes.
And hopefully when they do paint for their own selves, that we also at some point do get to see it. Because it's always nice to see, okay, what was somebody reflecting? Just like I always like talking to singer-songwriters. And it's like, okay, you've done really well with this particular song. What's your favorite song you wrote that hardly anybody's ever heard? And I always like those types of questions.
That's
So
nice. Yeah.
what's the bit that you did you're the most proud of that maybe if only a handful saw?
Well, like for painting, is that what you're
Yeah,
referring to? Okay.
That or anything along the line in arts
Sure.
and entertainment that you've been proud of that nobody really saw.
Well, I guess can I have two? Is that allowed?
Yes, you
okay.
may.
There's one that I wrote a song when I was in high school. So I'm not a singer-songwriter, but not really I don't write songs very often. It's just when I'm inspired, right? That I have that I've played for my mom a lot, and she just loves it. And she, but she's also maybe a little biased because she's my mom. But that's when I'm very embarrassed to play in front of other people because it's very, it's very my heart exposed and like ooey gooey on the ground. Everyone can get stuck in it. So,
And I do think, let's see, this is episode number 155. First time ooey gooey has been mentioned.
Yay! Changing the world. No, I'm just kidding. So that's kind of one of my favorites. That is, I'm a little more shy about. And the other one is I'm maybe not quite as just shy, but it's in my house. It's just a little terracotta pot that I painted that has like a cactus on it with a smiley face, and he's just really happy to be there, and I love him. So
Well, fun. and we've been happy to have you here.
well, thank you, Dave.
Again, we're recording today at the Sonny's Pizzeria because Allison, she was on the list to have as a guest anyway, was the first winner back in August of a free Pizza with a Podcaster.
Woo.
Yes, all you have to do is follow the Dave Holly Hour either on Facebook or on Instagram, and you are automatically entered. We draw one winner each week. And if you want, you can actually have pizza with me, but you don't have to. But you get the free coupon no matter what. So it's been a blast getting to know you more, and as well to see everything that you've already done and what we're looking forward to having you do even more of.
Thank you, Dave.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Been a pleasure, and we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment. Sure, they have darts, and you've heard me talk about how ruggedly handsome the trivia host is, but all caps fun never stops at the Sky Lounge and Tea. And fun is best had with your friends enjoying live entertainment, as in live and local. Yeah, the Sky Lounge believes in giving you the best bands, solo artists, and comedians from the area. The Neo Johnsons, Elizabeth Hunstead, Skylar Volks, as well as many others. And a great staff will make sure you enjoy your fun at the Sky Lounge in Tea, South Dakota. Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself, too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
He's a bit flirtatious, but most of all, fun. Once again, here's Dave Hawley.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, yeah, you know what I'm going to say. It is always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. It even becomes a greater pleasure when you get to talk about it with an executive director in the arts community. Kellen Boice from Sioux Falls Arts Council. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Glad to hear that. I'm doing well, thank you. I've been throughout the day saying, if I were any better, I'd be twins, because I could get twice as much stuff done. I don't know if that'll ever come to fruition, but, there was a time when I was quite heavy and most people already thought I was twins.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But we keep going forward, and Sioux Falls Arts Council has been going forward and forward and forward. You have had some busy, busy times of late.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I think the first one that I want to talk about, there's several topics we have in front of us, is that big wall.
Oh, yeah.
That is... It is a site, but not for sore eyes. It's a site. But we're going to beautify that site. And this is the week that you're actually going to be looking at, a lot of the applications. This comes out on Thursday morning, but on Wednesday, I believe that's a deadline for the people that want to get involved, whether as an individual artist or as a team of artists, to paint a mural on the side of that. I'm not even sure what's on the inside of that anymore.
Oh, it's a parking ramp.
It's still just a parking ramp.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, but it's not the prettiest site now, so let's make it something.
Yeah, so we've been working with the city on how we can kind of beautify that space. Right now, the city is looking for a developer to come and actually redevelop the front of that site and possibly on top of the parking ramp. But in the meantime, we're signing what we call a use agreement with the city to use that wall space and put some artwork on it until they have an actual developer come in and finalize and build a building in front of it. So we received about a $30,000 donation in order to do a call for qualifications. Find an artist or an artist team that's willing to come forward and work on that project. The wall itself is 240 by between 60 and 70 feet high, so it's quite big, but we don't intend the whole thing being painted completely.
Okay.
Using more negative space and kind of being creative with the space is what we're trying to find an artist that's willing to do that.
It's bigger than your average canvas.
It's quite big. Yes, it's probably the biggest wall. The Stan Houston building that just got painted, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
As far as for a mural.
But that's still, good size regardless. And it's going to be a challenge, but also a very rewarding challenge for whoever goes along and does this.
And the first time that we've been able to do a call for qualifications for something. So we're not asking for the artwork up front. What we're asking for are for artists to submit that want the opportunity to submit an actual design out of the, artists are submitting like their qualifications. So these are past projects that I've done. I'm equipped to be able to do the size of a project, and then we'll actually jury that through the Visual Arts Commission, and up to 3 artists will receive a $500 stipend, and then they'll actually create a proposed budget and mural design out of that funding. So then we'll have 3 designs to select from, and then that artist will be selected to actually do the full mural.
Is there going to be any direction from the Arts Council on this in terms of, well, we hope that it brings this to Sioux Falls, we hope that this is incorporated, or is it going to be, hey, we've trusted in the process of jurying this, and we're going to go with it. You now come up with everything else.
There are some ideas. I think there's some potential themes that we can be giving those artists once the top 3 are selected, as far as maybe the future of Sioux Falls could be the theme, or the future skyline. I mean, there's been some ideas that have been come out, but I always see that you get the best work sometimes when you let artists be artists.
Right.
So it'll be determined. And then once the design is selected from the top 3, I'm sure there's going to be some navigating between the artist and, the Arts Council in the city about what, some finite details that are going to come out of that. But it'll be great no matter what. I mean, the artists that are submitting right now, you wouldn't believe it. They're all amazingly talented. Any one of them would do a great job. So,
well, and just the fact that we're going to do something with that site, that it will be beautified one way or another is a fantastic feeling for those of us that are downtown a lot. And
it really needs a reset,
right?
It just needs let's just put a reset button on that space. It just had so much negativity, and just to see something beautiful when you walk by it or drive by it is just, I think it's needed, even if it's going to be covered up. And it's kind of interesting when you think about it, because it will be covered up.
Right, temporary art.
But it's going to create almost like a tomb for it, because it's going to be within a building. It's going to be packed in front of it. So another artist was talking about it as being like a time capsule. And they were okay with the fact that it would only be up for so long, but within view, but it'll still always be there, and they'll know that.
Well,
which made me really think of, that's kind of an interesting way to look at it.
True. And what is the projected time that you'd be looking to have this start, be completed, and then how long does the city think it would be before they develop?
So the mural artists, once they're selected by December, will know who's going to be doing the work. That artist will have time to develop their idea with us, and then come springtime, when it gets warm enough, a primer coat will go up. The city's going to put up the primer coat top to bottom on that whole wall, and then the artist can start working with the plans that it'll be finished by June 30th of next year.
Wow. That's not necessarily that long of a time frame to get that size done.
Yeah. I mean, again, we're not asking for paint wall to wall, top to bottom.
True, but just by that same token, it's just, depending upon when Mother Nature decides that it's spring for us.
It is, it is. And then once that is, because by the time next year, the city's actually doing their call right now for developers to look at that space. And so they're imagining it's going to be 18 months.
Yeah.
At the least.
At the least, I was going to say, things in government.
It could be up to 5 years.
Right.
We're not. We don't know. We can't. I don't have the magic ball today. I can get it one of these days, but I don't have it today to say this is how long it's going to be out there. But we know it's going to at least take 18 months once that developer is selected, writes the agreement with the city, how long it takes to kind of do their survey and all the things. But if you recall, they were prepping that space for it. So there's actually footings put into the ground already. It's ready to be built on. But then that process of building permits and all that stuff, that's why they give that 18 months period. So
regardless, like I said, I just think it's going to be fantastic no matter what goes up on there.
Yeah, and I have to say real quick, because I failed to mention, Market Beat was our major donor on this.
Oh, wow.
Which I can't imagine a greater partner. But we were really fortunate to find them to come to help fund this project, because a lot of people didn't want to fund it because it was so temporary. But they saw the value and the reset of that space and bringing positivity to it. So we just I have to give them a little shout out, because we couldn't do this without them.
I think of it in terms of long term as well. It may be temporary art, but what if somebody's a tourist, or somebody's here on some other type of business, sees that and says, wow, that's really great, and starts to think about, is this the town for me? And then somebody comes to town, a business comes to town, another artist comes to town, whatever it may be, it was worth it then. The value is there for it.
Yeah, and for us, for the Arts Council, because we're not really taking any percentage of the funding for this to actually do the call for art and be working through it, which we've been working through it for almost 2 years now of just talking about these processes. Really, for us, it's the call for qualifications. It's showing the city that, you know what, you can hire an artist without asking them to create artwork up front. And you can provide a stipend. You know, you can select an artist and say, based on your qualifications, we want to select you for this opportunity. And then giving them money to create a design, which is a process that's not really done around that I know of, that hasn't been really done in these parts. So I think it's a great opportunity for us as the Arts Council to propose these things, to watch the process go through, and to see a successful project take place. And then to be able to reflect on that, like, see, we can do this here. This isn't unheard of, to pay someone before you see everything that they're going to be doing. So.
I'm excited already. Just I'm waiting for that primer to go up, even just so we can see something.
Yes.
And know that there will be a finished product to it.
Yes,
All
soon
right.
enough.
Yes, very soon.
Yes.
I was really surprised when you were talking about that timeline of when you were hoping that it would all be finished, that we would have a product. So that's fantastic. All right, but boy, you have just so many things going on then, because you also have what's called micro grants that you have been giving out to various artists
Yes.
on a pretty regular basis. And so there's a lot of local artists that are benefiting from what Sioux Falls Arts Council has been able to help them with. And so give us a little bit about how that started and how many people are benefiting from it at this point.
So yes, kind of during the pandemic, we were trying to figure out how we can really engage with the artist community and in what's the best fit. How can we really be helpful? And one of those things is providing funding. So a lot of grants out there kind of make artists jump through hoops and ask them for a lot up front. And so we thought, what if we really simplified the process, create little micro grants as far as like $250 or $500 pots of money that artists can apply for to use for materials. Maybe they want to take a class. Maybe they want to take a week off of work and finish a play that they're writing. Whatever that is, and give them an opportunity through a really simple grant process to achieve those goals that they have or those projects that they want to do, and do that quarterly so that, man, I didn't miss that deadline. I got to wait till next year to apply for it again.
Every 90 days.
That they can apply for it first quarter. And then if they don't get it, then, you know, actually this grant rotates into the next quarter. So if somebody from quarter one didn't receive a grant, they're still in it at quarter three and quarter four, unless they call us and say, actually, I want to change that up, or I'm not really happy with what I was asking for, or maybe I completed that project, I'm on to the next thing. So we have that kind of revolving grant as well, which is nice because you don't have to be babysitting it the whole time in order to continue to get funded. So yeah, up to this date, we have about 45 artists that we've been able to grant funding for. Most of them are for the $500 grant. And we should be able to hit about 60 by the end of the year. So we're just finalizing our last quarter for applicants. And so we'll add another 15 plus to that number. And then hopefully just grow this as we move along. We'll continue this program for the next 2 years. So we've got funding for this, and each year we're giving out about $30,000 total.
So what's been the reaction from the people that are applying at this point then?
Wow. It's all over because everyone's asking for different things. So we're not really focused at this point of doing too much on the evaluation portion. So we'll get stories that are kind of trickling in, like, oh, by the way, quarter one, I received this micro grant and I'm finally getting around to doing this project. I have some time off of work to do this. Or, but it's been very positive. I don't think one person has said, man, you gave me this money and I've been miserable ever since.
Don't know what to do with it.
It's been really positive. And sometimes it's not always life-changing, right? But sometimes it is. So it's kind of hard to quantify kind of the reactions I've been getting because they've been so varied. But it's been very positive. We know we're doing the right thing. I always say every time I'm writing these checks out to these artists and putting them in the mail, it's just like focused. We are doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. this
What
is the
your
kind
mission
of work
is,
that's
right.
important.
Yeah.
And our community is really responding. Right now we have about 270 artists in the queue, meaning 200 applications have come through. And out of that, we've been able to fund 60 of them. We'll be able to fund at least 60 by the end of this year. So that's telling me that we've got a great, rate of people applying.
True.
And the ones that are actually receiving it, I mean, it's like, 1 in 3 that you'd be able to get. I'm trying to figure out the math in my head. It's probably not 1 in 3. It's like probably 1 in
Little beyond 4.
3.5.
Yeah.
That you'd be able to actually get the funding. So that's really good. You have a really good chance, artists
Right.
do, of actually receiving the funds.
Do you think that one of the biggest misconceptions in our community, because we do have a very strong visual arts and performing arts, arts and entertainment overall in the Sioux Falls area is growing by leaps and bounds.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still think that there's a misconception out there? A lot of people don't realize how many actually do this for a living? Or that it's more than just a little hobby?
Oh, I mean, I think the people that would rather not have a part-time job, they'd rather be creating
Exactly.
full-time. I think there's
Yeah.
more people that want to be creating full-time than there are people that are just doing it for a hobby. And that's just when I meet an artist, I'm talking to them, and you can hear it that they wish they had all the time in the world to be doing what they love to do the best, not
Right.
waiting tables or
Yeah.
working at their part-time gig.
So a micro grant helps that person and maybe spurs them along to continue and
It can. We just see ripples, right?
Mm-hmm.
We see, maybe it didn't change everything for them, but and that's also why I didn't want the evaluations to be very strict, like, oh, you have to tell us in 6 months how you've
Right.
been, because I want them to come in as they realize, like, wow, maybe that spurred them to take a class, and since they took that class and they got that job, they did this thing, and then 2 years down the road they're thinking about it and going, but it kind of all started from the microgrants. Then I want to hear those stories. So we're still learning about what that does when you directly fund the arts from the bottom up, instead of putting all the money at the top and watching it try to trickle down, which it really doesn't do that. And so I feel like the process, and that was great when we applied for the grant to give out the grants from the Sioux Falls Area Community Foundation. They were skeptical on if we could find enough artists to give that much money to. That's kind of funny, because we could.
the irony.
Yes. And then well, you mean you're just going to give them money, and how are you going to know they spent it the right way? And there was a lot of questions, and it's really trusting the process and realizing that there's no straight line from A to Z. There's all these points, and for artists, it's ever changing and evolving. So it's really hard to just say we have to do it this way. And so another great example of us challenging an organization to do things differently and to look at things differently and to kind of get out of our box and saying, well, you got to evaluate and you got to know where the money's going, and just trusting the process and allowing it to happen.
I always think of how much money was already into things, even before a person gets a micro grant such as this. I like to equate the fact that, okay, for my podcast, this little boom microphone arm is $50. The microphone itself is $100. The cables that we have here, just a few of them, 20 something. The mixer, thankfully I received it as a gift and won it, but otherwise it's like $600 piece of equipment.
Exactly.
And people don't understand that. So, when it comes to artists and the canvas that they go out and buy, they come, all the paint supplies and the brushes and everything else. And then you get people that go beyond that, and it's not just that they picked up, a 6-pack of brushes at Michael's or someplace like that. It's they're wanting to make sure that it provides the brush stroke that they need, and there's brushes that go for several dollars, not just let's take this one off the rack because there's 6 for $5. That's not the type of thing that they're doing. And then you also get the people that start doing mixed media and expressing themselves beyond just a palette and a canvas.
Well, and we're really not interested in seeing receipts and
Right,
trying to find out.
But just,
but to say, we just want artists to be artists.
Right. And I guess the point I was wanting to get to was the fact that think of what already went into somebody that's already doing this. How many years have they been honing their craft? And what did they have in terms, maybe it was self-taught, but maybe they, went to a school, maybe they went to a design school, maybe they went to an art school, a music school, and all those things that go into art that we tend to go, oh, hey, that's beautiful. I like that.
Yeah.
And not think of, what already was taking place to get to this point. And so that's what I love about this program with the micro grants is the fact that, it's going to hit everybody. And in fact, I'd kind of like to know what are the different types of art that's already been covered by these micro grants.
Well, the last round, I was really surprised. So, of course, you have visual artists. And I think that sometimes our community really looks at the visual arts because it's kind of a sculpture walk and you got museums and galleries and such. But then we have performing arts and we have musicians. We have a lot of different, you're saying your sounding board, like the different things, the mixers and stuff. We've gotten applications for those things for somebody that's doing a podcast. And last quarter, I was really surprised. We funded 3 films, 3 separate films on different. One was for like craft services. One was to pay an artist to create something for the film. So just like you just can't make this stuff up. I mean,
endless.
It's just endless. Like I can't even at the top of my head, it's like hard for me to say this is exactly the only things that we're funding because it's everything. So if you have an idea, if you want to take a risk, if you've been wanting to buy that XYZ thing, apply for a micro grant because there's no reason you shouldn't. And if we say no tomorrow, we're going to say maybe yes down the road. So it
might
doesn't
be the next quarter, might be a year.
We've given a micro grant to somebody and I thought that was over. I didn't realize it revolved. And they were super excited to find out like, oh, I get the money now. And I didn't realize it was continuous. So that was a nice surprise for them. It's like, yeah, your $500 check is here. And they're like, whoa, I totally forgot I even applied for it. So that's great. And then we also want to help artists build confidence in the grant writing process. So you have one success, right? It gives you the courage to take that next risk or to look at something else and say, you know what, I bet I can do that too. And so that's also part of the evolution of this is really uplifting our whole community, looking at artists and saying, I see you, I recognize that you have needs, we're going to try to fulfill those and then watch you grow as an artist. I think that's, an amazing part of what we get to do now. And I can't imagine doing anything else.
All right. So we can continue to grow in that regard. We also continue to grow in diversity and within our culture. And another program that you have that's just kind of in the footholds at this point is BIPOC. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yeah. So the program that we're actually running right now is called Elevate BIPOC Artists.
Okay.
So BIPOC is Black, Indigenous, and People of Color artists in the community. And that is actually a program that we developed through a grant that we got through Arts Midwest in conjunction with the Arts Council, the Statewide Arts Council, and Raising Magpies out of Rapid City. And the project is really of developing on how we work with BIPOC communities here in Sioux Falls and how we encourage BIPOC artists to not only be a part of the Arts Council, but working with programs that really promote and elevate what they're doing. And so I worked with Peter Strong from Racing Magpies over the last 6 months, and we kind of come to this conclusion of like, how can we do that? And how can we bridge some of those gaps and have some of those conversations? And along with our community engagement committee at the Arts Council, we developed the Elevate BIPOC Artist Program, which is really, it'll be almost a documentary and a series of storytelling about different BIPOC artists in the community. And then it's actually produced by BIPOC artists. So right now we just did a call for qualifications for BIPOC artists in film to actually submit that they want to produce this documentary with us. And we have the jurying process is happening this week. And then we'll hopefully be contacting those artists in the next week and telling them you got the opportunity. And then that opportunity is $15,000 that we got for the full grant. And what we're going to work with is the artists that are being the stories are being told about. It's kind of, there's two different layers. So there's the main group of the production artists, but then the artists' stories that they're going to be telling, those artists will also receive a stipend to share their stories. So we're going to dive into some of the microgrants artists that we've already worked with, that are BIPOC artists, as well as other artists in the community. So the final product might be a 30 to 45 minute short documentary, and then we'll actually show that at our next Arts Awards that's coming next summer. So we'll preview it there, and then hopefully that production team will be able to use that film and submit it to other film festivals and different things like that, and elevate everybody, right?
Yeah. See, another group that we don't think of often here are the filmmakers that we have.
Oh, films.
Yeah.
I mean,
South Dakota Filmmakers Association. We got,
it's really growing.
The Cinecu, with the USF and the Cougars and their cinema stuff. And
storytelling is a really important thing, as you know. I mean, we do podcasting. It's the voice. And not to say that people aren't reading anymore. I mean, they are. But I think there's such an engagement to the visual aspect and the storytelling and through the lens of someone's camera. That's fascinating for people.
True.
So it's like the point of view, different shows that you see on PBS and the different things. Like, people really love that aspect of somebody telling somebody else's story as well. So
and documentaries in and of themselves, thanks to streaming, have gained in such great popularity. So that anything you want to learn about anymore, it's available for you to learn about. Not only just learn, but a bigger word that I love to use when it comes to arts: appreciate. Yeah, and be able to take things in and just appreciate it. Be thankful that we have those types of artists and creators in our community. But do they need a leader? I know that you, obviously, as an executive director of Sioux Falls Arts Council, have plenty on your plate. I mean, think of what we've just already covered in the last 25 minutes. But I know that there's been a movement afoot at City Hall to look at least at having an arts coordinator position. Where do we stand on that right now? What's a possibility? What's the process?
So a while back, the mayor had presented his administration budget to the city council, and one of those items was to have an arts coordinator position added to planning and development into their department there. And that was, out of all the positions that the city council approved, that was the one that they did not approve. And so it's not dead in the water. I know we saw some things the Argus sent out, and it's over, and some people got really discouraged because overall what this position would really provide is a voice for the arts within the city administration. And that's very important, because when we're at the table with the cities at the table making these decisions and doing these things and moving them forward, sometimes the arts really takes a back seat, or is maybe one of those items that gets cut off at the budget floor. Is just like, they're like, oh well, let's just get rid of the arts because we don't really need that. There's not really somebody that's pushing or advocating for that at the city level. And you have the Arts Council, you have other organizations we're all doing our own thing, right? And sometimes when we get brought to the table, so for instance, when the Arts Council got approached to help with the wall, the eyesore, that was after the fact. So this person would really be sitting at the table during those major main discussions.
More frontline.
We're just getting at the very tail end of things. And so when we're more and more intentional about how we implement the arts into our community on that level, you really see that. I know there's some documents that have been created through some other commissions that looked at maybe a 1% for the arts. Well, that's a document, right? But we need someone to take that document, and the 1%, and I'll kind of explain that quick. So the community improvement projects that happen in the city, right? They have a budget. And so this document, this ordinance would create, saying if you were going to do a project, say, whatever over in that area, and you were going to allocate this many millions of dollars, 1% of that needs to be allocated to implement the arts into that project. It's just a document, right? And it's a really great idea, and a lot of major cities have this, but somebody needs to champion that. And so this coordinator could do that. They could also look at just different ways to apply for different grants to bring us all together. We are all kind of in our own little bubbles as far as Arts Council's doing what we're doing, the Pavilion's doing what they're doing, the Levitt's doing what they're doing. But this person could take like a project like a Meldrum Park, and they could apply for that NEA grant to have that done instead of somebody like the Arts Council. Like the Arts Council actually applied for the NEA grant for the Meldrum Park, which is on city land. It would make things make a little more sense, I think, for our community too. You'd have community murals, you'd have implementation of ordinances, you would have just talking about the arts, through Public Works and the health department, and just different ways to really integrate that into all of the aspects of our life, instead of just saying, well, I provided a wall over there, or here's a stand for a sculpture, which really doesn't integrate. We're just, that's just kind of imagining that the arts are really just a cherry on the top,
right,
versus the arts are an integral part, are the heart of our community. It's just as important as having power or water running to our homes, is having the arts come in different areas and in different aspects of our life. And so it's maybe the next step for our city to really step it up as an arts community, which I believe we truly believe we are. If you look around at what we're doing,
exactly,
it's really like it's the most appropriate step. So to get back to your question real quick, I know that you were asking like where things are at, right? It's not dead in the water. And right now there's some members of the original Arts Task Force who were originally suggested this position be a thing.
Right, I recall that from a couple of years back.
And the Arts Council, we're right alongside with that. We're working with the City Council to reapproach that idea and to give them kind of a little packet and say, this is what it is. This is why you should support it, in hopes that they make a reconsideration on their decision in December and fund the position. Right now we're doing open forum, and I can send you a little more of the information too, where we're asking the arts community to sign in on that they are in support of this, as well as come to a public input session if they have any additional questions. And we'll have some stuff going through our social media so other individuals can sign the petition and be a part of that. So then they'll be presented in that packet to the City Council to say, this is supported by these major organizations, these major businesses,
individuals,
your constituents, families,
yeah.
All these people are in support of this, and this is why it's a good thing.
All right. Well, we look forward to that coming about as well. Just the one final thing I guess I wanted to ask you is, what do you think we still need in the arts community?
More of you.
Oh, God bless you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
We need more people
Advocates,
to go out. Well, when I say more of you, Dave, you go to every show.
Pretty much.
You go to every show. We need people like you that support the arts. I mean, do you watch movies?
Yeah.
You probably watch movies, but I feel like you really take in a lot of the live, the interactive,
that we
right
do.
there.
Yeah,
you're a button in a seat. You're there. You're doing it.
Season ticket holders to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different theater companies. Yeah.
To just look outside your regular bubble, to experience something maybe that you wouldn't have experienced, to go out to that show that you've always been meaning to go out to go to your favorite restaurant, listen to some live music. I mean, enjoy what our city has to offer and show up. And I think that's what we're always saying is show up to other people's events, come out. It's easy to get just stuck in the rut, especially now it's going to be wintertime. People are going to go home, get out of their
darker
car,
at night,
warm up. But, look out in the community, go to the Arts Council's calendar, check out some events. We host a lot of events on our calendar so you can see all the different things happening. And there's not a day out of the week that there's not something happening related to the arts.
And also, if you happen to be looking for an artist, you've got a great directory on there, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our artist directory has about 270 artists that are like in the queue, but about over half of those are active on our website. So you can reach out to artists, you can find their work, you can click on their links and buy work from them, see some of them are teaching classes, there's all sorts of stuff. So
fantastic. And the usual final questions. When you're not part of the arts and entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Whoa. Say that again.
All right.
Okay.
You are an executive director for Sioux
Yeah.
Falls Arts Council, but when that stops for the day and you go someplace to soak it all up, what do you like to take in for entertainment?
Just on my personal, I'm kind of a gallery person.
Okay.
I like to go to a lot of art shows.
Mm-hmm.
Having those conversations with people just about the work is, I think, my favorite part.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to go to more plays, so I admire you running to all the shows. I'm like, oh, just get a seat next to you. Well,
See, I'm finally getting to
a
more
companion
galleries.
forever. Yeah, I really wanted to go see Salem. That was my. Wow. I was super sad I missed that.
I'm a little worried about that show though, because it was so good.
Oh,
I'm wondering if
don't
it was Luke.
say that.
If it meant that Luke Tachi's going to be called by Broadway to put something together.
He better. I mean,
If somebody deserves it, wow.
Oh, I know. There's so many things like that. No, I don't get to leave work. So when you're saying, like, when I take off my executive director hat, I don't get to take that off.
Yeah.
I'm kind of always on. And I just really enjoy the community that I live in. It's great to be around so many creative people. It feels like it's energetic and it's right where I want to be. And I love that I can walk out the door and just have this world out there to just select from. And anytime I walk into a space, I feel like I can know somebody in there. I don't even need a date. So,
okay, so aside from that, then, when you do take off the work hat, what do you like to do for fun?
just hang out with my family.
Yeah.
Yep, I have a
Always
3-year-old
good
son,
answer,
so
yeah. And,
he's quite he takes up a lot of my time.
I was going to say, he looks like he's getting more energetic as he ages, too.
He's bouncing off the walls.
Yeah.
Really into Spider-Man right now. So
Okay.
I have to say, if I get any free time, it's usually watching Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, like for the 100th time. So, but I enjoy it because I'm with the people I love. So.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kellen. Appreciate your time. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, and always so great to hear everything that's going on with Sioux Falls Arts Council, and look forward to even more down the line.
Yes.
All right. And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or xochiros.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
From the Dipsy Doodle Studios at the world headquarters of Big D Entertainment, a 40-square-foot home studio in the middle of America, it's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to those great guests, Alex Newcomb Weiland and Kellen Boice. Thanks to the fine folks at Sonny's Pizzeria, where we held this week's conversation with Alex. Thanks to the man who put the R&R Wine Bar and Kitchen, Ricardo Terabilsi, where we recorded our conversation with Kellen. Most of all, thank you for your interest in Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. If you haven't so far, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, which automatically gets you entered for Pizza with a Podcaster. For all 155 episodes, go online at davehollyhour.com. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is. As I say, put some art in your heart. Remember, I'm Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by Posh Boutique, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to davehollyhour.com and look for a coffee cup icon in the lower left. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show on Twitter and Instagram. Follow the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook, and you'll be automatically entered in our Pizza with a Podcaster contest. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.